Holy shit, look at this. Never has shooting a virtual gun felt so goddamn satisfying. Like, there's this massive impact with every pull of the trigger, every punch you deal, every step you take. This is ripping and tearing at its finest. And the game doesn't cheap out on the gratuitous violence. Blast demons to pieces, beat them to a pulp, smash them with your shield, slice them in half. Murdering demons becomes an art form in this game, with a bunch of diverse weapons, all with their unique upgrades, and the way the game once again rewards the different approaches to fighting the hordes of hell. Killing them with a finisher rewards you with HP, setting them on fire has them drop armor, using melee attacks produces ammo for your weapons, and goading them into attacking you and parrying those attacks builds up the charge for the melee attacks. And yeah, you heard that right. You can now use the Doom Slayer's newfangled shield to block and even parry attacks and projectiles. Doom the Dark Ages? More like Doom the Dark Souls. Though, with the setting and the aesthetics and the Impaler, my immediate thoughts when I saw the first trailer went to Painkiller. This mix of medieval and futuristic, both in the environments, as well as in the weapon designs. I mean, we not only get a round shield and flail to bash demons' heads in, we get a whole ass flail gun to do it in style. Now, funny thing is that the modern Doom soft reboot already went more in the direction of Painkiller when it comes to gameplay than towards classic Doom. You see, classic Doom was all about them labyrinths. Lots and lots of them, with hidden doors and secret rooms, sometimes secrets within secrets. Also lots of locked doors and keycards, which led to you having to scour the levels back and forth, up and down, traversing the same hallways over and over again and shooting demons along the way. It was the style of the time. And they kept this up for Doom 1 and 2 all the way up to 64, with the exception of Doom 3, which was more of a survival horror game. Great game, very fun, amazing atmosphere, but not important when it comes to the modern sequels. Painkiller, on the other hand, was more of an arena shooter, where it was more about getting locked in an interestingly designed room with hordes of monsters, and after defeating all of them, moving on to the next room and repeat the same process. Now, Doom had some instances where you were locked in with a bunch of monsters or had to defeat all the enemies to progress. But it was mostly about finding your way around and shooting enemies around the corner. Well, the modern Doom offshoots follow Painkiller's formula quite a bit. Not completely, the levels are still very labyrinthian and there's still lots of running and gunning through corridors and the like. But there's also lots and lots and lots of combat arenas. I guess it's fair to say that the modern Doom era, starting with the 2016 soft reboot, is in between classic Doom and the arena shooter design. Though Doom the Dark Ages leans a bit more towards the classic design than its older brethren. There's lots of winding hallways circling back into each other, with locked doors holding progression in one direction, leading you down other paths to find the required keys until you naturally arrive back at the intersection with countless, somewhat hidden paths towards bigger and smaller goodies. You're sometimes even thrown into massive, non-linear levels that reminded me a lot of Halo with its huge battle playgrounds. And then you have to kill hordes of monsters to clear an objective and move on. It looks amazing. The monster designs are once again metal as fuck, and the variety of different environments is incredible. You're not just stalking through future sci-fi tech bases or fiery hell pits. We get war-torn medieval towns, swamplands and villages, a city floating in the sky, wasteland cliffsides, in addition to future sci-fi tech hallways and fiery pits. We really get to explore a world here, and it's awesome. It's not always the most graphically astonishing, some models and textures might as well be from the previous game or the one before, and some animations are really goofy. But the art design, the lighting, the tinting in many instances is strong enough to make it all come together really well. Well, for the most part. To complement the new block and parry system, many attacks were given really discernible designs. There are some more restrained effects, just some flashes of light, some strings of electric energy and the like. but most of what we see are these huge, brightly glowing spheres or fucking shields, like actual shields sliding across the battlefield. It's so goofy, it looks like a cartoon, and it clashes so hard with the tone of the game. You're this stoic personification of brutality, gutting and dismembering all kinds of hellish creatures, but then you got to rhythmically dodge stylized JRPG attacks. Yeah, I understand that they had to make it obvious as to which attacks you're able to block and which to parry, but couldn't they be a bit more subtle about it? And why even have different projectiles for the parry system? Why not just have a tight parry timing and make all the projectiles parryable? Then you don't have to turn the battlefield into a dance floor. And in turn, increase the penalty for blocking attacks. Make your stance break faster or have blocked attacks still deal a bit of chip damage. But well, that would increase the difficulty of the game. That would require the player to master the mechanics or at least familiarize themselves with them and become somewhat competent with them. And we couldn't have that now, could we? Because as much fun as I have with this game, as much as I enjoy battling demons in these amazing environments, as great as it feels to perform any action with the Slayer, the game feels so incredibly dumbed down. This isn't hardcore balls to the wall Doom. This is Doom for the masses. It's a theme park ride. It's a very curated tour through all the game's selling points and highlights. You won't ever find a weapon early. Secrets are always marked on your map, and I mean, all the modern Doom games do this, but now the breakable walls are even further marked for you. It's such a disrespectful, empty gesture, patting me on the back, flashing secret found on screen after I broke through the clearly labeled entrance wall. Doom 2016 wasn't that obvious about it. Even when you knew from the map screen where the hidden areas were, you still had to find the opening mechanism. And you were able to find weapons early. Now here, the game hands out every piece of equipment at exactly the moment where it fits into a set piece, where it looks the best, where the game wants you to use it. You only take part in this guided tour. Level 1 is the most excusable in that regard, since the game has to introduce its mechanics in some way, and it does a good enough job with it. The level ends with a static turret section against oncoming hordes you can completely wipe out with just a few well-placed shots against the exploding monsters in their midst, who are thankfully also the largest targets, aside from the set-piece boss you slowly shoot to bits. Not mechanically stimulating, but good spectacle. Level 2 has you observing massive giant monsters fighting in the background, even destroying the environment around you. Not that it impacts your gameplay much. In level 3, you channel your inner Power Ranger and command a giant mecha, now fighting yourself against the huge-ass monsters. In very dumbed down punch-out fights. Level 4 is mostly some good demon shooting fun, slowly introducing more enemies and more weapons, but it already prepares you for the next big set piece, riding your own goddamn dragon. Which you do in level 5. You even get to assault a flying city with it, explore it from the air. Well, a bit, there's not that much to do here. Flying around itself is fine, but again, mechanics-wise, not all that intricate or too involved. Flying looks exhilarating, but doesn't require much input from the player. Landing is only possible in dedicated landing zones and always done via canned animation. And when you actually fight something with your dragon, you're locked into place and only dodge overly telegraphed shots in one of 4 directions to charge up your shots and then blast whatever is in front of you to smithereens. And this theme park, just enjoy the show and have fun approach also extends into the moment-to-moment gameplay. Everything is a trackable objective. Everything is highlighted in bright colors or with huge-ass objective markers, no matter if it fits the setting or not. Having a barrier colored the same as the corresponding keycard is fine, but why is a portcullis you unlock with a regular old key signposted in the same way? This could have been done with a tastefully colored lock. Well, and as for the main portion of your gameplay, the fighting, instead of cramped spaces full of obstacles that give you cover but also make it difficult to get shots in and track all the enemies weaving around them, ambushing you, we get large, mostly flat arenas where movement is hardly ever impeded and where your shield is all the cover you ever need. And enemies now come in stupidly large hordes, mostly comprised of fodder enemies, brainlessly approaching you, barely making use of the environment, and you're always equipped with the tools to take out whole groups at once. Smash into one guy and all the dudes around him are turned into paste as well. Enemies have energy shields? Just shoot it with a plasma gun and they just explode. They have normal metal shields? You don't even need ammo for that, just throw your own shield and blow theirs into bits. You even get some armor from the scrap metal. Now, this is actually meant to feed into a new mechanic, where your shield interacts differently with different parts of the environment, such as metal being superheated from friction of the bullets you fire at it, which it can then just shatter on impact. And sometimes it leads to a bit of prioritizing and decision making, but more often than not, these enemies already start off with red hot glowing shields. And most of the larger foes just throw their green parryable attacks at you, so you just click 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 your shield while moving backwards or circle strafe, maybe smash into a fodder enemy every now and then to replenish the health you might lose from grazing shots until the enemy's health or armor is slowly whittled down and you get to perform a finishing blow. Many of the features from the previous two games are still here. The game still always guides you towards the next kill. Using melee attacks still replenishes your ammunition in exchange for one of your limited melee charges. Using glory kills or the new shield bash replenishes your health. And over the course of the game, you once again unlock many power-ups for your weapons to get more and more benefits when using them. Like the already well-known burning shots for your shotgun, having enemies constantly dropping armor for you. Or attacks that make enemies more susceptible to other weapons, or replenishing your melee charges faster. But all of this is not as important anymore. It's more so just a neat bonus on top of you mindlessly mowing down hundreds of demons. Why should you be worried about alternating between shooting and melee if your guns already hold more than enough ammo and there's also ammo lying around everywhere? You don't need to ponder when it's tactically most advantageous to use one of your few available melee attacks, when melee charges are also scattered around each arena and build up lightning fast as long as you remember to raise your shield when you see anything green on screen. Why work towards glory kills when health and armor pickups are also available en masse and your shield bash functions effectively as a free health recharge every few seconds? Of course you can select a higher difficulty, turn enemies into bullet sponges and yourself into a sheet of paper if you prefer. That certainly would make things harder. You can actually tweak the difficulty quite extensively, something I appreciate very much whenever I see this in a game. You can crank up the speed of combat, tighten your parry window, increase or decrease the damage enemies deal and receive. It's good stuff and it can certainly help to improve anyone's enjoyment of the game. But it doesn't solve the core issue. There's still lots and lots of stupid health and ammo dispensers running across the battlefield. And those battlefields are still wide open spaces. And the whole green attack system is still just a poor rhythm game. The battles are a ton of fun, but hey, this is Doom we're talking about. This is the game when we're talking about first-person shooters. This shouldn't be a fun spectacle you casually enjoy. The game should demand some effort from the player to enjoy the carnage. And well, on the topic of sticking to what Doom is about, oh god, the story. I'm really not fond of that one. The game opens with a way too long cutscene where we see the people getting attacked by monsters, demons conniving, the king rallying his troops, talking strategy, calling for reinforcements, every faction gets introduced, they talk back and forth, then Doom Guy gets flaunted in all his glory, and then it's finally time for some action. God damn it, just tell me through a narration voice what's going on while you show off the Slayer and drop him into battle. That's all we need in this game. Don't give me politics or all this artificially mysterious foreshadowing bullshit. John Carmack has been quoted as having said that a story in a video game is like a story in a porn movie. It's expected but not important. And while I don't agree with this sentiment on a whole, it's certainly true when it comes to Doom. They took their story with this game way too seriously, and all it does is boring me and keeping me from killing more demons. I don't want to watch these dudes. I don't care about all those fantasy words. The only story I need in this game is demons are attacking and I'm one pissed off guy who wants to murder them all. The game can present its story, it can tell me stuff about the lore, but why stop me in my tracks to do so? Use background conversations, have the officers relay their battle plans to the troops while I run past them. Maybe have speaker announcements and the like talk about lore pieces like the artifact we uncover or about the location. Use the NPCs you come across from time to organically flesh out the world, instead of them just having some, at times, rather cheap canned voice lines and grunts. Or just have it in all the lore entries I can already collect and read on my own damn time. Why force all this on me? No one is here for the lore, not saying that players can't be interested. I'm sure many are, but even they are here for the gameplay first and foremost and would be completely satisfied with just the codex. And let's be honest, it's not that this here is a logically consistent world. All this is governed by the rule of cool, which is completely fine. Just treat it that way and not like an epic fantasy war stories I'm supposed to take seriously. Look, I'm going on about the negatives quite a bit, so I want to make clear that the game is a ton of fun. The many creative weapons are fun to use, the levels look amazing, the music is once again exhilarating goodness, even though it's a bit subdued compared to the previous two games. The combat is fast paced, every punch, every shot sounds meaty, the Doomslayer feels heavy, weighty, every step from him is an earthquake. I mean, he can kill a group of demons just by jumping down towards them. You can destroy your surroundings just by stumbling into it. It's a blast. And the little nods are pretty neat as well, with once again collectible figurines or even Doom Guy's face at the bottom of the HUD, harking back to the original game. The game's fucking fun and I do believe a lot of people are gonna enjoy this. But those looking for Doom might get a bit disappointed. The game does have a fair amount of flaws and you should be wary of that going into the game. That said, it is part of the GamePass subscription, so if you have one of those, well, you can just check it out without risk. And if not, well, you could rent the game for the price of 1 month of Game Pass, which should be enough to play through this. Again, this game is fun. I like the design of pretty much everything in here. And I do like the direction it took when it comes to the new mechanics. It's just that I wish the execution was a bit, I don't know, tighter? But yeah, it's nonetheless worth playing, and I'm certain you're gonna have a good time. And with that, I'm off. I wish you the greatest of days. That's it from Rady, and I hope to see you again on the next game.